How many times have you watched your favorite team stand on the precipice of greatness, only to see them falter, not from a lack of talent, but from a crucial, almost imperceptible missing piece? It's like staring at a complex puzzle, knowing a vital corner piece is just gone. You scrutinize the box, the sprawling image, the frustratingly incomplete picture on your table, and the question screams in your mind, how can we possibly finish this masterpiece without that? Well, that, dear viewer, is the agonizing, all-too-familiar dilemma currently gripping the Toronto Maple Leafs. But here's the twist, the tantalizing difference that electrifies the air around Scotiabank Arena. The piece they desperately need has a name, a surname, and has already unequivocally asked to leave his current team. His name is Yegor Chinakhov. And now the burning existential question for Leafs Nation and for General Manager Brad Treliving is this: will he finally rush to fit that piece into place before someone else snatches it away? Or will he once again leave the lid of the puzzle box open, idly hoping the perfect fit simply falls from the sky? Today, we are diving headfirst into a story brimming with unfulfilled promise, suppressed potential, and a trade scenario that could fundamentally alter the trajectory of not just the Maple Leafs, but also the Columbus Blue Jackets. And yes, we're also talking about Nick Robertson, Toronto's eternal almost, a player whose journey has become a poignant symbol of patience worn thin. Let's get into it. Just last week, the hockey world buzzed with news that the 24-year-old Russian winger Yegor Chinakhov officially requested a trade from the Columbus Blue Jackets. It took precisely 0 seconds for speculation to explode across the league, and amidst the flurry of whispers and hot takes, one destination began to resonate louder than all others: the Toronto Maple Leafs. This isn't just idle chatter, it's a strategic opportunity knocking loudly on Toronto's door. The Leafs are currently navigating a significant tactical rebuild in the wake of Mitch Marner's departure and several other roster adjustments. The need to inject consistent high-impact scoring into their top six is not merely real, it's an urgent, undeniable imperative. And Chinakhov, with his incredibly affordable $2.1 million cap hit, his dynamic technical profile, and his publicly stated desire to leave Columbus, appears as a tailor-made, strategic solution. It's not as if the Leafs are desperate in a panic-stricken way, but the truth is, losing Marner is far more than just a statistical drop in points. It's an emotional and symbolic void. Every time a team parts ways with a generational talent, it's forced to reinvent itself, to find new avenues for offense, new sources of leadership, and a new collective identity. Chinakhov may not be a superstar yet, but he offers a rare, invaluable skill, the uncanny ability to score goals out of nowhere, to create something from nothing, a trait that can turn the tide of a game in an instant. The 2024-25 season, to put it mildly, was turbulent for Toronto. The contention window, once wide open, feels like it's subtly, undeniably shrinking. John Tavares is aging, and the team's reliance on Austin Matthews and William Nylander has never felt so glaring, so heavy. After years of playoff frustrations, the team is still desperately trying to redefine its core identity, to find that elusive formula for sustained postseason success. On the other side of this potential deal, Columbus is still very much in a rebuilding phase, but they're doing so under dynamic new leadership. Don Waddell, formerly of the Carolina Hurricanes, is now at the helm as general manager. Waddell is a known quantity, a GM who is not afraid to make bold moves, to cut deep, to trade valuable assets when necessary, and to shake up the status quo. The mere fact that he attempted to include Chinakhov in a package for Noah Dobson earlier this year speaks volumes about his open, aggressive, and forward-thinking approach. Simultaneously, the broader NHL market is trending heavily towards more young-for-young trades, especially between teams looking to redefine their core identities. We saw it with Kirby Dach in Montreal, with Alex Newhook in Colorado, and now the stars might be aligning for it to happen again with Chinakhov and Robertson. Yegor Chinakhov is, without a doubt, an intriguing player. A 2021 first-round pick, he entered the NHL with the promise of blistering speed, a sharp, deceptive shot, and natural offensive instincts that seem to flow effortlessly. In his brightest moments with Columbus, he flashed genuine star potential. Mid-range goals that found the smallest openings, blistering transition plays, and well-executed power play contributions. Yet, despite these flashes, he never truly found a consistent run in the lineup, averaging a mere 10 minutes of ice time per game and frequently finding himself a healthy scratch. His frustration, understandably, began to build slowly but surely until it reached a breaking point. And here's the key point, the driving force behind this entire saga. He wants more. More minutes, more responsibility, more room to make mistakes and grow as a player. Something Columbus, for reasons both tactical and developmental, seems unable or unwilling to provide him right now. And that, in essence, is why his trade request makes total undeniable sense. Nick Robertson, on the other hand, seems perpetually stuck in a cruel cycle of expectation and disappointment. He scored 15 goals last season, a respectable total for limited ice time, but between recurring injuries and a consistent lack of opportunity, he never truly established himself as a permanent fixture in Toronto's lineup. At 23 years old, he still possesses undeniable upside, especially on a team that can offer him more minutes, more trust, and significantly less suffocating pressure. However, recent reports from The Athletic have suggested that his trade value has dropped considerably, complicating the idea of a straightforward one-for-one swap. At one point, Robertson was seen by fans and analysts alike as the franchise's future sniper, the heir apparent to a long line of Toronto goal scorers. His quick release, his big-game mentality, and his relentless work ethic turned heads and ignited hope. But after years of trying to break through, and with the clock of his young career ticking relentlessly forward, patience, both within the passionate fanbase and the front office, is wearing thin. Financially, both players are remarkably manageable, making a trade even more appealing. Chinakhov is signed through 2026 with that highly attractive $2.1 million cap hit, offering cost control and stability. Robertson, meanwhile, is on an expiring deal, which could make him a low-risk, high-reward piece for a rebuilding team like Columbus. For Toronto, Chinakhov's tactical fit as a pure winger in the top six, or even on a third line with significant offensive upside, holds immense value. For Columbus, Robertson represents precisely the kind of calculated gamble a rebuilding team should be making. A young player with untapped potential who just needs a change of scenery and a fresh opportunity. It's easy to look at Chinakhov and see just a jersey number, a collection of stats. But there's more to his story, a narrative that speaks volumes about his character. When he first arrived in the NHL, many Columbus fans didn't even know who he was. His draft selection was widely seen as a reach, a puzzling choice. He came straight from the KHL, without the typical hype and fanfare that accompanies most first-rounders. But Chinakhov took it all in stride. New country, new language, new system, new expectations. He didn't complain publicly, didn't stir drama, didn't make waves, until now. His trade request didn't come from ego or a sense of entitlement. It came from accumulated frustration, from a deep-seated belief that he can offer more, that he has more to give if only given the chance. And where does that hit hardest? In a team like Toronto, which has seen promising youngsters like Robertson get stuck in the dreaded fourth-line abyss, their development stifled by a lack of consistent opportunity. Robertson, meanwhile, is almost a tragic symbol of the Leafs' patience, or perhaps their lack thereof. Since 2020, fans have been waiting, hoping, for him to finally take that elusive leap. He's been through it all. Major injuries that derailed momentum, tantalizing flashes of brilliance, coaching changes, endless line reshuffles. At just 23, he already feels like a worn-down veteran, burdened by years of unfulfilled expectations. But here's the crucial caveat. He's also precisely the kind of player who could explode in the right setting, under the right guidance. And maybe, just maybe, for him, Toronto never was that place. In Toronto, Chinakhov would be more than just a potential replacement for Marner. He'd be a chance to rebuild the second line with added versatility, a new dynamic. His ability to play effectively in the neutral zone, accelerate transitions, and perform on both ends of the ice would make him an invaluable addition to the Leaf system. With Matthews and Nylander leading the offensive charge, Toronto desperately needs players who can float seamlessly between support and finishing roles, who can complement elite talent without needing to be the primary driver. Chinakhov brings exactly that. He won't fix everything, but he fills a major, gaping hole. As for Robertson in Columbus, he would finally get what he lacked most in Toronto: consistent time and space. With less spotlight, less media scrutiny, and more freedom to experiment and make mistakes, he could finally develop without the suffocating pressure of a market like Toronto. For a team banking on young talents like Kent Johnson, Adam Fantilli, and David Jiricek, Robertson could slot in as a highly complementary offensive piece, a low-risk addition with significant upside. This potential trade echoes other dramatic scenery changes that have revitalized careers across the NHL. Think of Anthony Duclair's rebirth in Ottawa, or Sam Bennett becoming a key, impactful piece in Florida after years of frustrating mediocrity in Calgary. Chinakhov could be that guy for Toronto. Robertson could be that guy for Columbus. According to esteemed insiders like Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet, there's strong interest in Chinakhov across the league, but Columbus is holding firm, wanting more than just a simple lateral move. Friedman also reported that Toronto is indeed one of the teams that has already called to inquire about the player. Frank Saravalli from Daily Faceoff has stated that Robertson still possesses significant value, but he absolutely needs a market with patience and a willingness to invest in his development. Even Columbus GM Don Waddell himself has confirmed that he's actively talking to teams and is open to offers that make sense for the team's long-term future. In short, the pieces are on the board. Chinakhov wants out. Toronto needs a winger with offensive punch. Robertson hasn't quite fit in Toronto, but could be a perfect fit for Columbus's rebuild. This trade makes undeniable sense on multiple levels: tactical, financial, and emotional. But it will probably require more than just a one-for-one deal. Perhaps a second-round pick, maybe a defensive prospect to sweeten the pot. The key, however, is that the door is cracked open. Someone just has to push it. If this trade goes through, Chinakhov would finally have the chance to shine in a more offensive system, with more space to operate and surrounded by legitimate stars. He might just be the type of player who develops at an accelerated pace when surrounded by elite talent, elevating his game to unforeseen heights. And the Leafs, amidst all their ongoing changes, desperately need smart, calculated bets like this, not just blockbuster gambles. For Robertson, going to Columbus would be a genuine shot at a fresh start, a chance to rediscover his game without the relentless pressure of Toronto's tabloids and a demanding fan base. And for the fans, a trade like this, while not a headline-grabbing blockbuster, could mark the subtle, yet significant, start of a new era in Toronto, the kind of shrewd, impactful deal that championship teams consistently make. From a frustrated Russian player in Ohio to a Canadian trying to reinvent himself in his own backyard, this story has it all: raw talent, lingering doubt, untapped potential, and an open-ended future. Nothing is guaranteed in hockey, and that's precisely why trades like this are so utterly fascinating, so captivating. So, what about you, Leafs Nation? Would you trade Robertson for Chinakhov? Do you think Toronto should be making more calculated bets like this, or should they hold out for something bigger, a more established name? Is Columbus asking too much, or is their price justified? Let me know your thoughts, your passionate opinions, in the comment section below. And if you were Brad Treliving, sitting in that GM's chair, what would you do? In the end, maybe this specific trade won't happen. Maybe Chinakhov ends up in Arizona, and Robertson finally becomes a consistent scorer in Anaheim. But if there's one thing the NHL consistently teaches us, it's that the best stories often begin with overlooked players and trades no one saw coming. And this one, it smells like good trouble. If you enjoyed this deep dive and analysis, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, because there's a lot more coming, especially if this trade actually happens. And, of course, keep your eyes peeled. The NHL offseason still has plenty of surprises in store. We'll see you in the next video. Until then.